Welcome to video 1 of 4 on our case study for this week about the Yakama tribe, or more specifically the Yakama Tribal Confederation. And this is video 1, and this is really just the introductory materials. So our learning targets and success criteria as we're going through and doing all 4 videos, not just this one. So our learning target is just that you know how the Stevens Treaties impacted one of the largest groups of tribes in Washington state. And our success criteria is that you can apply what you've learned to begin researching and thinking through Native American experiences in the 1800s and beyond, with the ultimate goal of integrating those experiences into your mural panel. So just to go ahead and get you started, right, I've got a couple of questions there on the right, and I want you to jot some notes. So if you didn't grab some paper and pen already, go ahead and do that. Pause the video and do that really quick, because you are going to need to answer these questions in Canvas. Okay. All right. Welcome back. So our 2 questions that I want you to think about as you're watching the video. Okay, so the blue areas are traditionally native areas. I know it says red, but I really meant gold, right? Ones are reservations. As we're watching the video across time, what are the changes that you notice in those 2 colors? So that's the first one. Okay. And the second one, why do you think that might be? What do you know about what's going on? For the answer to that second question, I want to be very, very clear that I know you may not have any ideas. I also know that you might. If you don't have any ideas when you answer it in Canvas, you can say that and get credit. What you cannot do is repeat what I say after the video back to me. If you repeat what I say, what I know about it, which is not what you know, then you will not get credit for it. Okay? So it's okay to say you don't know anything if you don't know anything. It's not okay to borrow my words and repeat back to me what I know. All right, here goes nothing. Okay, so pause this video, take a moment, jot down the answers to those 2 questions, and then I'll share some additional ideas, things that I know or that I noticed. Go ahead and go. Okay, so welcome back. In response to question 1, hopefully what you're saying, and it's okay to steal my words for this, right, or to say something similar, what you noticed was that the amount of blue land versus the amount of gold land was that as the blue land got a lot smaller, the gold land got a little bigger. So it's as land controlled by Native Americans gets smaller, right? The size of reservations gets bigger, but they're not in proportion to each other. So it's not like a perfect trade. It goes from a whole lot of land under Native American control to a whole little bit of land. The map starts in 1783, which is almost 200 years after the first settlers come. And 1783 is right after the American Revolution. It's just a few years after. Okay. So that's why when it starts, it's got gray on the coast and reasonably deep inland, and then you can watch it trail in from there. Okay, so hopefully that's the kind of thing you're noticing, and it's okay for that to say something similar to what I said. For number 2, why do you think that might be? That isn't, I want entirely your own words. So remember, if you don't know anything, you can say, I honestly have no idea why it would be. Okay? And that's okay, you'll get credit for it. No questions asked. What I know, what I think, is that it has to do with westward expansion of the United States and this idea of manifest destiny. And manifest destiny is the idea that it's the God-given right of the United States to start out on the East Coast. That's right over here, where we saw us kind of start out, and spread all the way across to the West Coast and get all the land in between and be in control of all the land in between. Okay? That's what I know. And that as we have people pulling into and coming into the East Coast and land getting scarcer, we see people moving west. Right? And then in about the 1850s-ish, that's when you start to see more people coming in on the West Coast and gradually moving a little bit east. So that's what I know, right? And that as the white folks are moving across country, that's causing and creating conflicts. That's what I know. Do not say what I know in answer to that question. Say what you know. All right, so I said our case study is going to be about the Yakama Reservation, okay, and the Yakama Confederated Tribes. So what I did was I took the map, zoomed in to Washington State. So you can see this is Washington State right here. Here's the Columbia River. Goes in, I think it kind of up around there, starts making its way north. But there's the boundary, right? And there's Canada up there. So there's Washington State. The Yakama are a confederated group. So that means they're a bunch of smaller groups that came together and are working together, that are from not just that area, but really all the way up here, down, all the way down into Oregon. So it's a rather large area, but that's the reservation we're going to be talking about. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. In between things, go ahead, go over to Canvas, answer the first couple of questions for the assignment to go with this series of videos. And then we'll pick it up in part 2 of our 4-part video series on our case study of the Yakama tribe. See you in a few minutes.